least likely relationship expert in that I am the person who's made every mistake there is to make. I have been married and divorced 3 times. And I say once each in the 80s, 90s, and 00s. I have not been married in 15 years, so I'm not like a reckless marrier.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I learned from my relationships, but what I went looking for something in relationship and marriage that I really needed to find inside myself. And so much of what I'm doing as a relationship expert is directing each individual toward what is going on within them, because that's where it all starts. It all starts inside. And so, for example, with Chris and Falasha, Chris needed to find that place inside of himself where he was willing to be a man to his mother instead of a child to his mother. And that's an inside job. And we were able to kind of come to that. Like you look and you think, well, the mom is a bad person. She's the villain in this one. But she can't be doing what she's doing.
Unless he allows.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it was really, most relationship issues start with something going on inside you. And that's what I learned through all my relationship failures. Now, the other thing that I did is that I started really educating myself from a young age. So I'll go back a step. So I grew up in foster care. My mom was a prostitute. My dad was in prison. I was given into foster care at 3 months. I was there in many different homes for, until I was like 9. And I think that gave me 2 things. 1, it was very traumatizing. And 2, it made me know that I couldn't just do what comes naturally. I had to educate myself. I had to heal myself. I had to go to a ton of therapy if I was going to have a good life. And I knew that. So I think sometimes when you have a more normal childhood, you kind of just go, oh, I'm just going to do what comes naturally. And of course, what comes naturally is, you could do better. So the other thing I think foster care gave me was like a level of emotional intelligence that in order to survive, I had to be able to make accurate predictions about other people and what was going on relationally. I also had to learn how to connect with people. And then that became a skill that I took into my relating life. Like I was very good at figuring out who was going to be a committed partner. I had 0 interest in a one-night stand. I had 0 interest in bad boys. I was only interested in people who were going to commit. That's the way I went. You could easily go the other way. So a lot of my early relationship experting was with girlfriends where I would be like looking at them going, that's not, you want to get married? That's not going to get you married because that dude is never going to marry you. Like I had a real understanding of like the people who you could build a relationship with and the people you couldn't. So that's kind of where I started. I started a lot at work. I would be talking to women about their relationships. I was really helping them. I was bringing in things I was learning in psychology, things I was learning in my own experience, and I'm also very good at like pattern recognition. And they'd be like, wow, this really helped me. Can my girlfriend call you? So pretty soon I had like 20 people that I was helping. Some of them got married. They gave me credit for it. This became a sort of like a little side thing that I did. It was for fun and for free. I wasn't taking money for it. I didn't want money for it. It was just like I think through our wounds can become the places where we have the most to give. If we do that work and we transform it, it becomes a place where we're of service to others. And that's how I was seeing it. Then I moved from journalism to becoming a television writer. I started, I started writing essays. I wrote a memoir. Like I sort of became more of like a person with a platform, and I wrote this piece called Why You're Not Married. And it was based on my experience. Women would ask me, how have you been married 3 times? I can't get married once. And so I was just like, this is going to be my satire, funny, sassy little essay I'm going to write, because I'm a writer. That's what I do. So I'm writing it. I'm making myself laugh. I'm like, yeah, girl, that's what. And then, just that. And then somebody was like, oh, we'll put it on the Huffington Post. So it's like, oh, I don't need to do that. And they're like, no, do it. And I was like, okay. I'm like, but people are going to be mad at me. They're like, that's okay. You're going to help some people. So I put it on the Huffington Post, and the rest is history. It became like the most viewed of all time for like 3 years. and I did tons of TV. Now, I had come from television news. I never wanted to be on camera, but I did know how when the time came. I was like, oh, I know how to do this. So it was really like, when you move absolutely into your authentic self, I mean, I'm a big believer. It's like, God goes, I could use that. And then, and it's like, every single thing I'd ever done up to that, every mistake I'd ever made was made like, oh, I could use that. Okay, yeah. Like, we can do good with this if you're willing to, like, put aside whatever you think and just just go do it. So I've just allowed myself to be led. And that one thing has led to the next, and here I am. And I know it's like a very unlikely story, but I think that the people that I help are, it's like most relationship experts are coming from a place of having one relationship that they succeeded in. I did Dr. Phil's podcast. He's like, I've been married 45 years. And I'm like, Dr. Phil, then you know nothing about my life because I've made 1,000 mistakes. So what experience, anything you're telling me is like an idea. I'm sharing experience with people. Here's what I did. Here's how I got out of it. It's okay. Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to have made a lot of mistakes in relationships. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means there's work to do. Let's get started, So that's kind of my background, and I credit Oprah with saying, like, yeah, let's do it, So, but I don't know, we're doing a lot of good work on the show, so I feel like it's kind of not my business. I just show up. Just like here, I'm just showing up. So